We're dancing and having a good time and, you know, enjoying the music. And then Julia kind of gives me that face and I'm like, what? She's like, Mommy, I gotta go potty. So we go to the bathroom. We weren't even, not even there, not even 5 minutes. She goes to the bathroom. And by the time we get out of the, like the little corral, the bathroom corral, we come back out and then we hear, it sounded like fireworks. We got about, I would say just about to where our location was, then that's when we heard that the second round of shots going off, and then I knew really what it was because you heard that brrrr, and then you can hear it ricocheting off of everything. And it was just sheer terror on everybody's faces, and you can hear everybody screaming, they're shooting, they're shooting. And then it just seemed like the whole crowd just started just coming at me. And I just instantly panicked. I was like, no, I gotta get to my son. I gotta get to my sister.
I miss my mom so much because I didn't have her. I mean, I wish I had her in my hand with me, but I didn't have her.
And a man came up from behind me, or from behind us, grabbed her like a sack of potatoes, grabbed me by my belt loops, and was like, run now. As hard as you can, as fast as you can, run. So of course, the first thing was, oh my gosh, he got shot. Oh my God, he's hurt. You know, oh my God, he's at the hospital. We had, you know, of course, you know, you think the worst. Yeah. And
especially if you're a kid.
Mm-hmm. And so my dad, my mom and my dad, they beelined it for the hospital. They got there probably around 11. And a little bit after that, I was able to call my dad again. And he told us, crying, he says, we got him. We got Aiden. We all went to the store, and on our way into the store, we were in the parking lot. Aiden's holding my hand, and just out of the blue, completely out of the blue, he looks at me, he says, Mommy, next time, do you think we can all go together? And I was like, go where together? Like, we're all going to the store together. Like, it didn't kind of make sense to me at the time. And then he looks at me, he says, well, to the bathroom. Next time, can we all go to the bathroom together? And my heart just fell. I was like, oh my God. And I remember last night, Delia, my daughter, she came to me and she says, Mommy, I don't know how I'm going to go to sleep tonight. I said, well, why not? And I said, just, you know, cuddle with some of your stuffed animals. She says, but Mom, every time I close my eyes, I'm right back there. Every time I close my eyes, I hear the gunshots and I see people falling and I see, you know, people running and screaming. She says, I can't sleep. And so then I got Aiden and I sat down with both of them. I said, listen, we went through something really, really traumatic. I said, this was a devastating, horrifying experience that we've all been through, we all went through. I says, you guys need to talk to each other, you know, console each other, give each other hugs, and, you know, tell each other it's going to be okay. Right now, I don't know how this is going to affect, especially them, in the long run, you know, like mentally, because my biggest fear is that, you know, not only are we dealing with this right now mentally, I don't want it to affect them in the long run. I don't want it to affect them. I don't want them to be scared to go to a festival, to go to a concert, to go live and to go have fun. You know, I don't want them to be afraid to live.
There was 5-year-old Aiden Huser, separated from his mother when the shooting began.
I lost her, and I think sad. I didn't know where to run.
When a stranger, Lindsay Rogers, saw him standing alone, she stayed by his side.
He was really brave and really good.
Lindsay and a friend posting this photo of Aiden on Facebook. His relatives saw it. He's been reunited with his mother.
Serve your country here. Because if I have to turn around and protect you with no gun and no armor, I'm going to get hurt. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt. Stay right here. We have a lot of officers already up there. Stay right here, my man. I promise you're doing more for me by staying here. Ready? Yeah. All right.
So, dude, Brandon Phillips was at the concert here, right?
Yeah.
Multiple people shot, multiple fire shots coming from Mandalay Bay right here. Yeah. Hey, send my wife and kids that way, headed out, came back towards this way. Multiple people walking this way, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. Multiple people got down right here.
Yeah.
With the cops here, everything's is not. Nothing but 15 to 20 SWAT teams coming this way.
Okay.
For the rest of me right here, they're in there now. Multiple coming up this way right here. This is where we're at now. The street shut down in Mandalay and Las Vegas Boulevard. That's where we're at right now.
What's your name?
Brandon Phillips.
Okay.
Cool?
How old are you?
35 years old, man.
Where are you from?
I'm from Arizona.
Okay. Stay safe.
Stay safe.
How about being Kodiak Yazzie? He and his girlfriend were 125 feet from the stage when all of this was going down. Kodiak joins you right now. How are you holding up, Kodiak?
Yes. You know, it's been a trial of 12 hours here. I mean, it's still to the point where it's unreal. You know, it's hard to believe that it happened, even though we were there and I've been watching on the news all day. It's still hard to sit back and think that that actually happened, you know, down there with us.
I'm sure it's very hard, and if you have any difficulty relaying this or sharing this, or please let me know and I'll shut up. But tell me what happened or where you and your girlfriend were at the time when this first started.
We were, like I say, about 125 feet or so from the main stage. You know, at the time of the concert, it was Aldine for the closeout, so it was down to a single stage and you know, a very large, you know, shoulder sort of a crowd, you know, at the venue. We were just in one of the open areas that had some of the fake you know, grass and stuff, and we're just standing there. And we're a little bit closer to the west side of the venue facing the stage, which would be closer to the Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas Boulevard area. And like everybody, we heard those first few pops, and we're thinking, that's very odd. You kind of look around, you know, is that fireworks? Is there one of the helicopters that was going around? And then the concert kind of had like a little break in the music somewhat. And then, you know, when the next round of the pop started, that's when we looked at the stage and we saw Aldine and all the band members just you know, disperse, scatter, hit the ground, run for cover, and that was all we needed to know. We grabbed each other and we just ran, you know, and we ran. I could tell where where it was coming from, what direction, and I could kind of tell it was elevated. So that was the first thing that went in my mind, is somebody's coming from Mandalay Bay shooting this direction. So what we did is we circled back around one of the concession stand bar area sort of things too. We just took cover, and at that time we were able to kind of look and see and kind of face Mandalay Bay, and about halfway up the Mandalay Bay on the glass stuff you could see some flashing, like looked like, you know, cameras flashing or something like that. And so we just stayed down until that round finished, and then you know, we ran for another cover to exit on the east side of the venue, and we just kept continuing to run, and we took shelter around a water truck with about 25 other individuals. There was an off-duty police officer that was helping direct people, you know, so we all huddled up and just stood behind it and let the next, you know, after the burst of shots ended, then there was another one. I mean, it was several hundred rounds that were going off.
How long did this all take, Kodiak? I mean, I've heard different reports, a few minutes, 10 minutes, longer. He would stop, then rearm, or you know, get another gun. What happened?
I would say in total it was probably 10 to 12 minutes. It started, I think, like 10:07. I think I saw a report. You know, I was trying to. I had some other friends at the concert. We weren't directly next to them. But I knew that they were there, so I was trying to also simultaneously call them to find out where they were at, that there was no cell phone signal that was connecting or going out. And so we got stuck at that next to that water truck for probably a good 5 minutes, give or take, at that one location, just huddled behind it. And there was, you know, burst of, you know, very quick rapid fire that lasted for, you know, 20 to 30 seconds, then there would be a 10, 12-second break, and then the burst would continue again. You know, so we just stayed. We thought we were protected where we were at. You know, we were huddled out behind it. We went as far east as we could get. You know, that's what our thought was, is to get furthest away from the noise, you know, which would be heading east. So that's the direction we just ran to.
Were there anyone else there who were kind of barricading themselves with you?
Yeah, we had behind the initial concession stand. I mean, a lot of people they just stopped.
Right.
I don't think they realized where it was coming from or what exactly it was. I think we had maybe a little bit more inclination. That was my first thought that was going on, that it was coming from above. And so that's why we went behind the concession stand quite quickly. And then you started seeing more and more people start to kind of crawl to areas that would be somewhat, you know, out of the line. And then you saw a lot of the police officers, security guards and stuff that were all taking, you know, doing the same thing at that point too.
Now, I understand after all this was done and you think things have settled down, you took a lift back home. You had the composure to do that.
But by the time we left the water truck area, and there was a pretty big pause in the fire at that time, and there was some sort of a gate or fence that enough people had pushed it down, and there was a route that looked like it was going to have a block wall that you could kind of walk the perimeter of the wall and kind of protect yourself. So we made our way going through a couple back little alleys sort of things to eventually Tropicana. And then we took Tropicana and we just hugged the airport, you know, divider wall with the razor wire. We just walked along that or jogged along that for the next, you know, mile or so until we got to Maryland Parkway, and that's when we were able to order a lift.
All right, and you're back home in Henderson, Nevada. How's your girlfriend?
You know, I don't think it's fully settled in. I mean, obviously we're both very rattled.
Sure.
You know, we had lots of conversations with family members, you know, that sort of thing, just to make sure that, hey, we're okay. You know, I'm trying to track down all the people I knew that were at the event, friends and stuff like that. Fortunately, you know, all the people that I knew that were down there, you know, we all were okay. You know, so everybody was able to get out. But yeah, it's been a, you know, experience that, you know, it's just, you just don't think it really happened.
Amazing. Kodiak, you had a remarkable composure, as did your girlfriend, through all of this. I hand it to you. Obviously, you're going to go through a lot these next few days. That's an understatement, but you showed remarkable strength. Be well, be strong. My best to you and your girlfriend.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Incredible.
Jason Aldean was performing. He was like 10 minutes in, and we heard what we thought were fireworks, and it looked like smoke from Mandalay Bay. And then he kept performing, and then we heard it again, and they cut the music, and everyone said drop, and everyone dropped.
Yeah, get in.
Back up. Doesn't matter. You back up. That's shooting. That's not shooting.
Relax. Dude, get the fuck out of here.
Hey, we're safe.
Relax. We're all right. Everybody relax.
Okay. Go over me.
Go. Get out of the way.
Go.
Get out of the way.
Oh my God.
Go.
Please go away.
Go slow. There's people running all in front of you, brother. Just go straight down this road. Straight down this road. Don't know where it goes. It's just far away. You're good, bro. Just watch for people. Don't haul ass. We're rolling fast with making our walk. You guys are alright. Motherfuckers, man. Get over from him. Get over out of the way. Alright, man. Take your time. Take your time.
Just hold on for a second.
Yeah. Come in. Come in here. Come in here. Alright. Relax.
God. I'm sorry if I don't know where to go. There's a shooting.
You guys want water, anything to drink?
They were in a shooting.
It's a machine gun. They're shooting from Mandalay Bay into the crowd.
From Mandalay Bay into the crowd?
Yeah. Yes.
Where do you guys need to go?
Yeah. I just went anywhere far away from
Can you take? I can take you anywhere you want.
Where were the shots at?
She said they were from Mandalay Bay. Keep going. The crowd. Get out.
Where's your hotel?
No, we're not getting out.
Hey, listen, brother. So, just keep on going. We don't know where it goes. But basically, as long as we make left, sway the fuck out of here, we'll get back to the strip. You know what I mean? Okay.
I don't care where
Hey, we're alright. We're alright.
I know.
Relax. Go straight to this parking lot. Watch out for people. You got it. You know? So they see us running people over, they won't fucking shoot us. You understand? Yes, sir.
There's blood. At the concert.
Hey, we're all good now. Everybody.
At the concert.
We're good. We're in the car.
Hey, calm down.
Calm down. It's okay.
Hey, are you guys okay?
We tried.
Okay, we're in somebody's car, dude. Just
shooting at the thing.
Going way far away. Be safe. Be safe. Call us when you get there. No, I know. It's crazy. There's a whole convoy of cops heading that way, bro. So, are you with Rachel and Danny and Henry? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right, bro. Call us.
Yeah, the car is full, but I'll put them in the back.
Well, I can get somebody right here, too. Mid, Lauren, come up front. Hold on, give it back. Calm down, dude. Hey, relax. Calm down.
An Uber driver.
Hey,
jumped in his car.
Calm down. Everybody relax. Hey. You good back there? Alright, hey, if you can't go, relax. You guys are the best. Go right, brother. Watch the people. Watch the people.
Just get away from me, dude.
Hey, we're safe. Drive slow, brother. Everybody relax, guys. We're far away.
Yeah. This police are on top of it. I hope I don't get
Fuck.
I don't get away. How would you talk to him?
Talk to Scott. They're fine. They're Hooters.
Yeah, he's definitely ready.
I'm all full. I'm all full.
Yeah, I don't know who's going. We're just down the car.
Hey, my guy, we're good. We're far away. There's no need to go too fast. Hey, you guys okay? Are you guys alright? Alright. We're in a car. Laura and I are good. Scott and Trace are good. So, we're in a car right now with a bunch of people. We're fine. We're far away. Everybody meet at the casino, bro. Okay, so we can all make sure everybody's okay. Hey, are you with Danny? Fuck. Alright, bro. We'll call you when everybody call each other back at the hotel. Alright, bye. Hey, guys. Everybody's good, guys. Everybody's good.
Yeah, it was next to my hotel, I think. Yeah, I'm not going back. I don't know. It was right next to my hotel. I'm with a bunch of people, but I don't know who they are. That's good. We're really far away, though. I think very far. Yeah, Dad, you got it. Oh my God, everybody's okay. I know.
Call your mom and yet, okay? Just wait. Go. Fucking go. Fucking go. You're all right.
Oh, they turned the signals to the cops.
Yeah, they did, exactly. Get into your left lane, brother.
So, what hotel are you at?
So what we can do is, I don't know where everybody's at. What you can do is just drop everybody off at kind of a centralized location. You take the left, I think you can go up.
You want to go to university, or I got any other spot you want to go?
Yeah, you know what? Pull up parking lot of university, bro. All right. We'll just calm down for a second. All right? Yeah.
Thomas and Max stairs if you have any friends or family. That's where it's the easiest spot to point out.
Okay, let's find them all, but don't panic if you can't find them.
Out of the gunshots?
There's
people getting shot like right next to
Hey, we're okay, guys. We're good.
We're okay. Everybody calm down. It's okay. Deep breath. Don't worry about your friends yet. Don't worry. Let's pray for everybody, but don't worry about your friends.
These fucking cars, man, stop. Those fucking idiots, stop driving. Let these guys through.
I'm okay. I just got in a random car. We're okay. I don't know about my friends though. Will you come get me? Do you have a car? Are you like? Can you come get me? You might not hit. Don't worry if you don't hit me. Don't worry. There's a lot of cell phones going on there. Don't worry if you don't hit me. I'm by myself. I lost all my friends. Don't worry. Don't worry. What? You can't. Don't go that way. Get out of there.
You have to leave. You froze.
It's not okay there. You trust me. You're way too close. I'm in a random car. I don't know where I am. Yeah, I lost all my friends. I talked to my parents, but that's all you.
I saw it. I think I saw it from the other day. I saw it from the other day. Yes. I saw it too.
I'm fine. We're by the
UNLV Thomas and Max Center.
I know you want to back. I know.
Hey, hold on. We're almost out of the car. Don't barf yet. We're almost out of the car.
I'm gonna hang up. I need to call my friends.
It's all good right here, bro.
What is this place right here?
Thomas and Max Center. The main stairs.
Hey, driver, I don't know your name, but thank you, driver.
You all right?
Wait, Monica, I don't know where to go.
And of course, then you have the witnesses and the concert goers I spoke to that just described the horror as they ran for their lives.
I was down in front of Mandalay Bay on the sidewalk and all of a sudden heard a noise, and I looked up and glass was falling down, and there was another couple gunshots and more glass fell down, and then there was a brief pause and I recognized it as gunfire at that point, and I went behind an SUV. I could see the muzzle flashes, I could see, you know, sparks up there and the exhaust, and then the curtains from the room were flying out and they were tattered and the bullets were flying through the curtains and smoke was coming out of the room. It was awful.
That shooter, 64-year-old Stephen Paddock, had been staying there at the Mandalay Bay since last Thursday. He was found dead by SWAT team members. No word yet on a motive of why he attacked concert goers there at the Route 91 festival of 22,000 people. And Jeff and Sharon, back out here live on a deserted Las Vegas Boulevard, right where the road has been closed off as this investigation continues into this massacre, this mass shooting that took place here last night. 58 people dead, more than 500 others injured.
A North Carolina man says he witnessed the tragic Las Vegas shooting, and WFMY News 2's Candace Redd joins us from our information center now. Candace, you spoke with him. Tell us about that conversation.
And Tracy, well, you know what? It's a conversation that no one wants to have. Another deadly shooting. Well, Lucas Bruch lives in Lenore, and right now he's in Las Vegas for work. Bruch says that he walked outside the Mandalay Bay Hotel and all of a sudden heard about 200 gunshots coming from that hotel window. It quickly turned into a chaotic scene, people running from left to right.
This is an awful, terrible situation, and it's becoming hard to stomach to a point to know that I sat there and watched some person murder innocent people indiscriminately.
Foote says he is safe and not hurt. He was forced to evacuate the hotel and also the Las Vegas Strip. Right now, he's stuck at a gas station waiting to figure out what's next. Well, Bruch says that the good news in all of this, you know, if there's any at all, is the outpouring of love and support going on right now in Las Vegas.
All right, Candace, thank you for calling him and checking in with him. Glad to hear he's okay.
Way down the strip from Mandalay. Yeah, there you go. I've seen so many officers already and SWAT team members. This is crazy. Everybody's responding. Everybody's out here. The strip is chaos right now. We're being evacuated. Got a line of emergency response vehicles all the way backed up, waiting to respond. Apparently multiple people shot. Hospitals at capacity. It's crazy, folks. They're sending us back now?
I think they're chasing us back.
All the ambulances just went that way.
Yeah, I think they're going around the backside of the Mandalay Bay.
They just want us to stay away from there.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Prayers.
We need to stay here.
That's the second bunch of them.
No, with WXII 12 weather.
Yeah, I was down on the ground level and the window exploded. I looked up and I saw glass falling down onto the sidewalk and heard a few more gunshots and more glass broke and fell down onto the sidewalk at that point. And I knew it was gunfire. I moved to the left to take cover. I moved to the left away from the gunfire where it was coming from to get behind a vehicle and an awning and asked some of the folks near me to do the same. I don't think they knew what they were dealing with yet. And then the automatic firing started, and it probably lasted 2.5 minutes, and my guess would be 200, 300 rounds were fired towards the concert area, which was right behind me across the street. And then the music stopped and the screaming started, and everyone was active shooter. We got to figure out what to do, go inside, go outside, and we got moved around a lot as everyone tried to figure out how to get us to safety. Definitely a wild night. I think the biggest thing was I've had security training. I've worked for an international organization and we work all over the world, so I've had training on situational awareness as far as gunfire and hostage situations and attacks, terror attacks and things like that. So I recognized the gunfire and went into action to get to safety and then to tell others to get to safety. And I don't think a lot of people recognize that it was gunfire. So I responded to them, letting them know what was going on.
Kind of spent the day mulling around the casino and then had dinner, and then I went back to my room to kind of have an early night. And I was on the phone with my husband. We were FaceTiming with each other when the shooting started. And I immediately knew that it was a shooter, but I couldn't tell where it was coming from. It was just really loud, multiple gunshots. So I started kind of running around my room while I was on the phone with my husband, looking out the panoramic windows, trying to figure out where it was coming from. And my windows actually faced the festival, so I immediately thought that would be where it might be coming from. It was just really, really loud. I think the shooter was 3 or 4 rooms down from me and on the same side. We were on the same side of the hotel together. So I couldn't exactly tell where the shooting was coming from. It was really loud, and then there would be the breaks, which now I know is obviously when he was reloading. And my husband could hear it on the phone. And at first he wanted to tell me it wasn't a shooter. He was trying to reassure me, but I knew it was. So I put him on hold, and I called the front desk. And I said, "Is there a shooter in the hotel?" And they said to me, "Ma'am, we don't know what's going on." And I said, "Well, I really think there's a shooter in the hotel. I can hear it. It's really loud." And she just said, "Ma'am, stay in your room. We don't know what's going on." So I hung up the phone with her, and I went back to the windows. And at this point, I was crouching down, hiding, because I didn't know, again, where the shots were coming from. And at this point, I was leaning kind of up against the wall where I could look out the panoramic windows. And at that point, I could see the flash of the gunshots kind of down the way. So I could tell that it was parallel with me a few windows down. And that's when I knew for sure that the shooter was in the building. And my husband just said, turn off all the lights and hide and in the room. So I did that, and stay away from any walls where any bullets could come through. So that's what I did. I just hid and tried to watch out the window as much as I could, and that's when I started seeing the police officers arrive at the concert across the street, and the shots just kept going on and on and on. I think it lasted for about 20 minutes. And then I finally could hear the police officers' radios in the hallway. So I told my husband, I think the police are here. I think the police are here. Let me call you back. I hung up the phone with him, and at that moment, that's when I heard them blow the door. I didn't know what it was. It was just a really loud noise, and I decided to go out in the hall. And when I did that, I saw a large group of police officers, and I think SWAT team. There was probably 10 or 12 of them that I could see outside of the door, which now I know was the shooter's room door. And it was just down the way from me. Like I said, 3 or 4 rooms down. I can't tell. And I heard them yelling inside the room. They were yelling. They yelled things like, get down. And I don't know if he was already down. I don't know what the situation was. And they turned and looked at me and yelled at me and told me to get back in my room immediately. And so I did. And I called my husband back and told him. And probably just a few minutes later, there was a really loud knock at my door. And that was very scary because I didn't know if it was going to be the police or a shooter or who it was. And my husband just kept telling me, be really careful, sneak up to it quietly, look out the peephole. And so I did. And right as I was doing that, they finally said security. And then I opened the door and they rushed in and asked if I was alone and told me that I needed to get out of the hotel. So they evacuated me. They kind of rushed me back down the hall opposite of where the room was that had the shooter. And they put me in an open elevator. It was a security elevator. And they had me wait there while they tried to evacuate the other rooms. They ended up only finding one other gentleman that was asleep in his room, and they pulled him out. And then they just took us downstairs in the elevator, took us outside, and kind of pointed in a direction and said, we want you to get away from the hotel, run south. So yeah, I was in my pajamas and had my cell phone, and they said run, and that's what we did. And we ran for about 1.5 miles, past multiple, police barricades and roadblocks, and finally we got to a point where we were at a mall parking lot, and that's where they said was one of the safe zones, and we hung out there for a few hours, and I ended up leaving that point because I wanted to try to find my way to some other friends that I had staying at another hotel. But it was about 6 hours of wandering through Las Vegas trying to figure out how I can make it back to my friends because the strip was completely shut down and blocked. They wouldn't let anybody in or out. Finally, I think about 5 o'clock in the morning, I was able to get to another casino hotel where my friends were staying, and I was able to meet up with them and stayed with them until Mandalay Bay reopened their doors for guests that had been staying there. I think it was about 7 or 7:30 in the morning. And then I made my way back down there. Yeah, just waited around until they would bring me my things. I was never allowed back up on the 32nd floor. When I came back that morning to the hotel, they gave me a robe and checked me into another room. And my husband actually flew down yesterday evening and brought me some other clothes until I was able to get my things, which they finally brought to me last night. I'm okay. I've been surrounded by, my friends and family that have been, constantly messaging me and texting me, and obviously my husband flew here for me. That's my biggest message is life it can be so short, and just to, love the people that are around you and embrace every day. I also have decided, after all of this, I'm not going to be afraid to live my life. At first, I was thinking, oh my God, I never want to travel again. I don't ever want to leave home. But I can't live like that. I can't be afraid of this. I just, need to be strong and unite with the good people of the world and just, show as much love as I possibly can.
scene of last night's massacre to help other concert goers, to help them escape, and he joins me now. Thank you so much. How you doing tonight?
It's good. Just still kind of still trying to process everything.
Yeah. Why'd you stay behind?
I still had friends that were accounted for. As I was trying to escape, you know, I was trying to text or call anybody. I was making sure I'd gotten separated from my group, so you know, as I was leaving, as I felt I got somewhere safe and helped as many people as I could become safe and everything like that, I turned around and I said I need to go make sure everybody else is safe. I started getting text messages of people still inside.
Did you immediately realize something had gone wrong?
I heard the first shot. At first I thought it was a firecracker or some sort of pyrotechnic for the show. But after I heard a second shot and a third and fourth, fifth shot, I knew right away that those were gunshots.
Yeah.
People had paused, and just as people had paused and the show was still going on, people started running, and that's when the machine gun fire started. So I was standing luckily near a food truck, so I grabbed my friends that were with me at the time and anybody else and told them just to get cover behind this food truck and just encourage as many people to come behind here and just stay put. Literally just stay put, and then just wait until there was a pause in the shooting. And then as soon as there was a pause, I pretty much told everybody, we're going to just jump this fence and go behind this police truck that was right behind it, and then just hunker down there. And I lost some people coming over the fence, but there was 20 or 30 more people behind this police car, scared and just didn't know what to do. So there was one woman was like super scared. She was pregnant and she was just hanging on to me like, you know, just, I'm pregnant, please help me. And you know, I told anybody who was in the area, I was like, everybody calm down, everybody just relax, stay here, stay down, wait until the shooting had stopped, thinking that, you know, he had to reload. And once there was a pause, I told him just to make a break for it to the next trailer behind the lot. And then that happened, and I just told everybody to go.
So you were in intervals, like you waited for it to stop. But you still didn't know. Did you know where it was coming from?
No. I mean, the first shot I heard, it came from the direction of Mandalay Bay, so I looked immediately over across the festival grounds because I was on the east side of the festival, and I wasn't sure. By the time I got behind the police car, somebody had said there were multiple shooters. They were in the festival grounds and they're getting closer. I did hear bullets start coming our way. I mean, behind the cop car, it was getting hit 3 or 4 times. So I knew that we were going to have to make a move soon, but we just really had to try to wait it out.
You were hitting the ground or hitting the car?
It sounded like it was hitting the car. I was on the other side of the car, so it sounded like 3 or 4 bullets were hitting the car. And people were just, you know, I told people just to stay put for now. And then I was like, look, we're going to go soon. Just everybody stay put, and then just going to pause.
Some people said as they looked up when they, you know, heard the gunshots, as they looked up, it was like they saw like a very bright TV flickering in Mandalay Bay. Did you see that?
I saw
where
that.
The gunshots were?
I saw that. It looked like a flickering light.
Like a flickering.
But I wasn't sure. I mean, to be fair, we were in the direct line of fire, so I wasn't interested in like where it was coming from. I just wanted to get away from it.
Any of the people you were with injured that you helped, like the pregnant woman?
She made it fine. Once we got to the private airport hangar, we got out to the tarmac, we were able to flag down airport security. He had an SUV. And then a bunch of other people, I turned around and asked if anybody was shot or anybody was injured. This one woman said her husband was shot. So I immediately went over to them, grabbed him. He was shot in the shoulder. And then another woman approached me and said she was shot in the stomach. And then another woman was shot in the thigh, another girl shot in the leg. And I was like, we got them over to the car. The security guard was definitely like overwhelmed. So I told him, listen, we have 4 people that are shot. They need medical attention. You need to put them in your car right now and take off and get them to safety. And you know, he processed everything that was going on. We got them in the cars, and then they took off, and that was the last time I saw them.
You have friends who were injured, right?
I have a couple, yeah.
How are they doing?
One is in stable condition now. He's still in the ICU, but they removed the bullet from his back, and then I have another friend who got shot in the lower back, and he's in surgery now.
So, thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Glad your friends are okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We're going to spend a few minutes with Thomas and Suzanne Rollman, and it's a sort of an awkward conversation. Let me introduce, first of all, Thomas. You are, I gather, the founder, certainly the head of GT Aeronautics up in Cody.
That's correct.
Producing unmanned, radio-controlled aircraft systems for commercial use, civilian use, defense use, etc. And, of course, Suzanne Rollman is there as well. Let me stop stumbling around and go ahead and get right to it. You guys were in the middle of and very involved in the recovery aspect of the horrible shooting incident in Las Vegas on Sunday night. Can I ask you first, whoever wants to take this, were you there on pleasure, there on business, just decided to take in the concert?
Oh, no, we were there certainly for pleasure. We've been planning going to Route 91 for at least 9 months. So that was that was a complete, we go to country music festivals. We like country music, and Route 91, we've been there before, like Stagecoach down in California. But no, we'd been planning it for 9 months. And so, we ended up there on Thursday and saw the music festival Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And so the music festival is going, huge crowd, right in the middle of Las Vegas. And at 10 o'clock, let me just turn it over to you. What happened? What did you first hear? When did you know what was going on? What was the situation?
Well,
go ahead.
Oh, well, we were listening to Jason Aldean. He had just come on. He had done, I think, 2 songs, and all of a sudden to the right of us, which was the east side of the field, we...
It was on the west
I'm
side.
sorry, the west side.
Yeah.
We had heard some pop, pop, pop sounds, and it sounded like firecrackers.
So, yeah, Suzanne even asked me, she said, what is that? What is that? And I said, well, I think it's firecrackers. It sounded like they're about 10 feet away from us to the right of us. As you look at the stage, we're on the sort of the right side of the stage near the center line, but a little bit to the west, that center line to the right. And these pops come through about, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 of them, and it sounded like, a string of firecrackers going off, and nobody really did anything. They just kind of looking around, and then it stopped, and then there was another string or another volley of fire, which we come to find out, of course, was somebody shooting. And then, this next round was, 100 rounds, like 100 pop, 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 pops, followed by, deeper booms. What we were hearing was the bullets coming in, and then you'd hear the boom from the gun all the way up, and sort of gave away position. Like that's when people started pointing at the Mandalay Bay Hotel, which is, if you're looking at the stage, a little to the right of the stage is where that was. And so the second round of stuff came in, and that's when people started to crouch down and kneel down, and then the third round came in, and everybody hit the dirt. Then the music stopped about somewhere in there, too, and the band ran off the stage, and people started to run and, of course, scream. There was people on the ground. Within 10 feet of us, there was people on the ground that were hit, and some mortally wounded, some not, but we were right in the line of fire.
At the time, we didn't really know who was hit, how many were hit. We did hit the ground, and we realized there was somebody behind us. A woman was screaming, and she said, was she screaming out her boyfriend?
No, she's just screaming for help. She was saying, he's hit, somebody help me, and there's this young woman was screaming, and her boyfriend that was laying there, and he'd gotten shot, and so he was about, I don't know, maybe 5 feet behind and to our left a little bit, and so as we're crouched down, we kind of crawled over to him to try to help him, and as I don't know how far you want me to take it, helping him right there as best we could, and in between gunfire, and we decided we'd take him and pull him. I said, let's go all the way up to the stage. We were about 70, 80 feet away from the stage front rail there, and about maybe 20 or 30 feet to the right of that center line. And so we tried to pull him there, and as soon as we stood up and started pulling him, gunfire rang out again, hitting all around us. We crouched down again and covered, and then it stopped again. And this time a young man had come by and he said he was a combat medic, and I said, you can help me pull this guy. Let's pull him all the way up there. So he and I grabbed him, and Suzanne kind of got his legs, and we just sort of hauled ass and took him all the way up to the front of the stage, right in the corner of a fence area where we were kind of shielded from things. And he was not doing good, as Suzanne's saying.
He had a gunshot to the right upper chest, and it was not a very big opening. He wasn't bleeding too much. He also had an exit wound, we assumed, on his left flank, and more blood was coming from there. But overall, not a tremendous amount of blood, but he was not doing good. He was breathing. He was not doing so good at this point. And then he began to vomit, and
his eyes were kind of glazed over. He's only about 20 years old, but so initially we'd done a little bit of mouth-to-mouth on him, and we're going to do CPR. But at that point, we realized he was not doing very good, and his girlfriend was really just beside herself and couldn't do very much at all. She was just, I'll say, kind of coming unglued. She was trying her best, but she was having a really hard time with this. So I grabbed a couple guys, and we cleared off a 6-foot folding table and pulled it out from behind the barricade and folded up the legs and got him on there. And we started to haul him out of there on that table, but it was slippery and it's kind of hard. And so that one little combat medic guy, I asked him if he could do the fireman's carry, and he said yes. And he tried to carry the guy, but he was just complete dead weight at that point, and it was really hard. But we got him out of there and all the way around to an exit that was over on the east side, which is, I don't know, probably 150 yards. We carried him out and got him out of the whole arena there, and to there was a paramedic out there who, at that point in time, there was people driving up in pickup trucks. And so I told the paramedic, I said, look, this guy is hit bad. The other one's got, they're hit, but they're not bad. They're not mortally wounded. This kid is in deep trouble, so we got to get him on an ambulance or get him on a truck. So they put him in the bed of a pickup truck with his girlfriend, and they just took off towards the nearest hospital. And at that point in time, we went back in. We went back in there looking for anybody else that needed help. And, of course, we ended up right back where we were up at the front of the stage. There was one other gentleman had been hit in the head, and he had a pretty severe head wound, and they were trying to lift him. He was a big boy, though. So there's guys trying to get him, and they got one of those orange grates, like a barricade fence, and we laid it on its side and lifted him up, got him on that barricade fence, and carried him out on that barricade fence. And my wife here, she helping out with, unfortunately, his head wound was bad, and so she's got a towel or T-shirt or something, I can't even remember, but was holding his head together.
Holding his head together.
As we carried him out the same 150 yards out there to that area where they were starting to do just real fast triage area. So we got him out there, and then tried to get him. And we did end up getting him on an ambulance. There's a paramedic there, and they understood that it was easy to see that he was hit really bad.
Yeah.
And then we helped other people.
Was the shooting continuing all this time?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, it was on and off. I mean, it would go for, I don't know how many rounds were coming out of the guns, but it was for the first two people, there was still gunfire going on. And then after that, there wasn't. I mean, these two that we carried out, there was gunfire going on in those times. And then after that, it stopped. But we did go back in trying to help. But at that point in time, there was mostly just bodies laying around. And there was a guy, I don't even remember what he looked like, but he just said, look, you guys got to get out of here. And I said, well, she's a nurse and she can help people. He says, all these people here are dead already. So there's nothing that you can do at this point in time. So we got to get you out of here, get you out of here. So we went back out to that area there and just helped out there, lifted people into pickup trucks, putting them in pickup trucks and getting them out of there. We helped for a little while there until they told us we had to leave.
Suzanne, we've read so many stories of former service folks, Marines, Army, some combat vets whose instincts and training just kicked in. And I gather you, having been a nurse, was it the same for you?
Oh, totally. My first instinct was to run with everybody, but we decided it would be better to hit the ground to stay more safe with the gunfire going over us. And then the guy, we heard him that he needed help, and we just we didn't even think about it. I mean, I think my husband being ex-military with his experience and mine, you know, I'm very spiritual, and I was just praying, God, you know, just, you know, help me through this. Help me we just wanted to help people. I think that took precedence over anything. Not that I'm trying to sound like a hero or anything, but you know, I guess when you're trained, this is what happens. Your training kicks in, your instincts kick in of what to do to save people.
It's just that girl, you know, when she was screaming, and she was really in bad shape, and she just, not screaming because she got hit, but because her boyfriend got hit, and she needed help. I mean, she just wanted help, and there's nobody there. I mean, so it's like we're the only people there.
You just have to do it. You don't run away from it. You got to help.
We didn't want to run away from her and leave her there. She was just, you know, and he was motionless. You know, he was not doing very well, although we tried to tell her he'll be all right, he'll be all right.
And I think your fear just goes away because you're focused on doing other things, so that fear gets just pushed away.
This area where we were when we were helping him out there, and even just about anywhere out there, bullets were hitting within 3 feet of us almost the whole time. Like anytime we moved, that seemed like they opened fire, and bullets came in right where we were. They were just hitting off the pavement and all over the place around us. That little pop, 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 pop. You just hear all over the place like firecrackers going off all around us. And I'm not sure myself if it's the way it is, but what we come to think of later on was that what we were hearing like firecrackers is those little like supersonic cracks for those bullets when they came in, because they're going supersonic. And then you'd hear the gun report from way up there by the hotel. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because it just sounded like everything was real close to us when those pop-pops happened. Then you hear a deeper boom, boom, boom later on, you know, about 2 or 3 seconds afterwards. It was really a bizarre experience.
Yeah, the bullet goes supersonic downrange, and that is probably what you heard there.
Yeah, and that's why everybody thought initially that there were firecrackers in our midst, because that's what was happening. That was the sound that you would hear first, followed by the report of the gun, which was 600 to 1,000 yards away at the Mandalay Bay. I mean, that was way, way out there. So then you'd hear 2 or 3 seconds later, you'd hear a more deep, you know, boom, 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 boom kind of sound that was the gun going off in a muzzle blast. So it was just a bizarre thing.
And you can understand people, a big concert, figuring there might be pyrotechnics, firecrackers, that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And even people said Jason Aldean has done that before. He's had pyrotechnics in his show before. So people thought that that's what he had done. Somebody told us he looked like he glanced when he heard it the first time. He looked over. When he heard it the second time, he looked over. And there was kind of a look of, like they said, they looked like he was scared. And that's when the music stopped, and then they really hijacked off the stage, because there was bullets actually hitting the top of the beams and the lights up in the top of that stage where they were ricocheting around on that stage. And all those guys, man, they took off they went off the stage on the left side of the stage and down and out. They hit underneath the stage, I think. But yeah, it was.
Do you remember? Do you remember how long the shooting lasted when it finally stopped? I know he was in the room, but we understand now, for some time after the shooting stopped, and before the police burst in.
We talked about that a bunch, didn't we? We said initially we thought that, you know, both of us kind of said, like, we did think 10 minutes or so, and then I started thinking about it, going, well, adrenaline's going. Maybe it was only about 2 or 3 minutes. And then the more we thought about it, well, we'd gone out, we'd gone back in, you know, went back out again, tried to come back in, and all that had to take, and it was all in that time frame, about 10 minutes probably, that all this took place. And the last time we had come in there looking to help people, there wasn't any shooting going on at that time. There was, you know, SWAT team people all over the place. In fact, when we came out that time, that's when we came out the police car there, and the SWAT team was one guy, they had their rifles aimed right at us as we came out. One guy on the ground with a rifle, and the other guy behind the door of the police car with a rifle. I'm sure they didn't know who anybody was at that point in time, but, you know, it was just us. In fact, I thought the guy on the ground was actually shot. And I went over to him as a policeman. I said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And, you know, they didn't really respond. They just looked at me like, move on, move on. So we just, you know, we moved on.
You've had some time to think about it now, and you've seen all the reports and what investigators are learning about all of this. Looking back, is it tough to realize you were in the middle of this and what you two managed to do in the middle of this when everybody around you is, well, almost everybody is running away?
We didn't do anything. We were just there, and we were just helping people, and there were so many other people, so many wonderful, strong guys and girls and brave people, many more than us, that were helping, and it was an amazing thing to see. There were so many people helping.
We just did the best we could do, and it was frustrating because you couldn't do any more than what you could do. I mean, we wanted to help more than what we did, and in fact, unfortunately, we just found out yesterday that young kid that we tried to help, he did pass away. So he did not make it, and we don't know about the guy with the brain injury or the head wound, but unfortunately, that young boy, he didn't make it.
20-year-old kid.
So he was a great young kid, and all those people that were in there, most of the people that were there were all prior military, off-duty policemen, off-duty firemen, combat medics, all, you name it. That's the people that were in there helping. We were just one little tiny piece of that was helping with all those people. Yeah, a lot of people. There's 22,000 or so people in that whole thing, and yeah, a lot of them did flee, but there was a whole lot that stayed there. They're not, of course, getting any press coverage because no one knows it, but they were there.
There were some that did so much more than we did. There was one guy on the news that I think he said he went around and he helped like 20 people. It was amazing. There's amazing stories.
Oh, there's a former Marine who stole a truck, and he started driving people to the hospital before he gave the truck back, obviously.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of people, and the people that drove those pickup trucks, I don't even know how they got there or how, but they were smart enough to know to get pickup trucks over there where they're starting to do the initial triage. There's no ambulances at the beginning. The only people that took those people out of there were guys driving pickup trucks, and they put as many as they could in the back of that pickup truck. If they could put 2 or 3, they'd put them in there in the beds of the pickup truck, and their loved one would be with them, or a paramedic would be with them, and they'd go speeding off, and we didn't see them after that, of course, but then another pickup truck would show up and say, what can I do? What can I do? Put this guy in the cab. Put this guy in the back. This guy's all right. He's not shot bad, but this one, has to lay down in the back or something. So it was chaos.
Seems like they organized pretty quickly. They came together pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the paramedics did get there, and ambulances started showing up, but they didn't. I think when they first got there, they didn't have a staging area. They didn't get as deep in as where this little spot was. This is where most of the pickup trucks were, and the initial casualties were coming out that exit on the east side. It was on the southeast side of the whole venue there, and that's where most of the people came out that were injured at first, and they did get ambulances and stuff in there.
Again, in the aftermath of this, do the emotions hit you later? Obviously, there's no time to think about that when you're in the hot middle of it. But looking back now, you've had time to think about it. Do the emotions start to take over?
Yeah, definitely. We were in rescue mode, I guess, when we started. No crying, no screaming. We were just helping people. No crying. I was totally unemotional. Just get the job done. And
a nurse has to be, yes.
And even when we left the scene, I think we were both kind of in a state of shock. Like, what just happened? It was just so hard to grasp what happened. It was so unbelievable. I remember the shots going over our head thinking, this is insane. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's a matter of, they were so close.
It's like you were on a battlefield.
I said to myself, there's no way that we are not going to get shot here. There's just no way. When we were hunkered down there when the shooting was going on, it's just, all I could think of is this is going to hurt a lot when it happens. I just hope it's not a bad hit, and hopefully I can get up again and get out of here when we need to. But I was absolutely positive that we were going to get hit, and
I was just praying.
I think it was you, Suzanne. There's a divine intervention that kept us from getting hit, because there's just no way. The bullets were within a couple feet of us a lot of the times, and you just can't imagine the rapid rate of fire, how many bullets were coming in, and the news doesn't even do it justice. I mean, there was easily, I bet you 1,000 or more rounds were fired into that crowd, and it's just incomprehensible how many bullets came down into that crowd. It just was unbelievable. And like I said, you don't hear it on the news. You hear the reports. You just take those out into however many times that guy shot. He shot a bunch of different times, and it was just a lot.
But it took not until we got on the airplane and our first leg of the journey, we got to Salt Lake, and that's when I started to feel something. That's when I started thinking about things more and, replaying scenes, and that's when I started to get emotional, and it's been hard the last couple of days. I'm a little bit better today, I think. I don't know. But
that's what I said, Roger's kind of when you tell the story over and over again, the more times you tell it, the more it starts to get at you a little bit. But it's not, we did what we had to do. Even when we left there, when they took us out to Tropicana, there's a young gal, her mom and sister got shot, and she lost them. Her name was Stephanie, and what was her
friend's name was Lynn.
Lynn, and she was beside herself. I mean, she was completely out of control. And all we could do is just grab her by the shoulder and grab her by the shoulder and say, "Look at me, Stephanie, look at me. Stop it. You're not going to help anything by doing this. Just calm down, calm down." And it took an hour of us doing that with her over there at the Tropicana to try to get her calmed down. And as luck would have, we got her to talk, give me your email address. We'll help you. Do whatever we can do. And she did text you back today, and we found out that her mom, after, I don't know, it was 5 hours, she had no idea where her mother was. She knew her mother got shot. She saw her got shot. She saw her laying there. She saw her sister get shot. And after that, she ran, and her mother was still in it because she couldn't carry her. Her mother was on the large side maybe a little bit, and she couldn't carry her out. She didn't know what to do, so she left, and her mother was still there. And so we found out then yesterday.
Yeah.
She texted Suzanne here.
After 11 hours, she found her mom. She located her in the hospital, and she was alive. She didn't give me any details, but she was alive, and she was so grateful.
Yeah, just amazing.
That was a good story.
That was a good story because a good ending to that one.
Well, and there are going to be so many of those in a crowd that big and in a situation like that. We're going to start getting, I'm sure, all of these vignettes, these individual stories of people's experiences there.
Yeah.
Guys, I can't thank you enough for sharing all of that with us. When we watch the news, or in my case, when one reports the news, you really don't get a feeling for what people were going through. I know it's tough, and I appreciate you sharing it with us.
Can I add one thing there?
Sure, please.
One big takeaway from this whole thing was that this is America, and there was no way that you did not feel that when you were there. This American, and this is what Americans do, and the big takeaway for me was how much Americans care about each other. And it's not just because they're country music fans. It's not because of any of that. It was Americans. They sang God Bless America less than an hour before all that happened. All those people out there, 22,000 people, top of their lungs saying God Bless America. And then they acted on that when all this stuff took place. And God bless all of them. All of them were great, great people, and we're great people. There's no takeaway other than the fact that this is America. I think we should be proud of this country for what we do and how those people responded and acted. All those people, first responders, and then all those fans that helped out as much as they did. Combat veterans, medics, you name it, whatever they were, they all helped out. And that's what this country's about. And, man, you walk away from there, you walk away almost with your chest out. We know there's a lot of bad stuff that happened there, but you still walk away with your chest out knowing this is a goddamn great country. It really is.
All right. Thomas and Suzanne Ruhlman, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And
you're very welcome.
And thank you for all you did.
Oh, no.
Thank you much.
We did our best, sir. That's all we did.
Indeed you did. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'll let you get back to your lives. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Davis was at the concert when the shooting started. She joins us now from Las Vegas. Gail, I can't imagine how you were feeling at this second. I'm so glad that you can join us right now. What can you tell us about what you saw, what happened?
Oh, well, it's kind of just shocking what, you know, you don't expect something like this. We went there to see Jason Aldean, really, it was a 3-day show, and we went there to see Jason. He's my favorite singer, and we got there, and we were standing like maybe halfway up, and just waiting for him to come on stage. He came on, and about 20 to 10, and we were just listening to him. He sang about 5 songs, and all of a sudden we just heard like 3 or 4 little pop, pop, pop. And everybody kind of looked around and said, oh, it's just firecrackers. And then we heard pop, 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 and it just kept going and going. And my husband said, that's not firecrackers. That sounds like a semi-automatic rifle. And then everybody started screaming and started to run. And I looked over to my right where this girl had been standing right beside me. And she had fallen, and first she stood there and she grabbed her stomach, and she looked at her hands are all bloody. And then she was wearing like a little crop top and, you know, blue jean shorts and cowboy boots, and she looked at her hands are bloody, and she just kind of screamed, and she just fell back. And then everybody started yelling, and there were some guys there, and we just started jumping up and down, like waving for help, help. And then all of a sudden we just heard a whole bunch of shots fired, and people started running. And so my husband said, get down, get down. And so we bent down, and everybody was just running just straight up, and you could see people getting shot and people falling. And then my husband said, Gail, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta get out of here, we're gonna get shot. And so we started running, and there was the little, I don't know where the concession stands are, and little cubicle kind of things of tents. And we started to run, and a Metro officer who I owe my life to grabbed us, and he said, come here, get in here, get in here. So we went running inside, and the lights were on, and everything else was dark. They'd turned the stage lights off and everything, and we went running in there, and he said, get down. And so we got down, and I was there. My husband was in front of me, and there was another 2 ladies behind us. And the officer actually covered me up to protect me from being shot because I couldn't get out all the way. And it was like you could hear the shots just like going back and forth and ricocheting. And, and then they would stop. And then we thought, okay, it's over, it's over. And then it would start again. And this happened a couple times, and the officer stood up, and I heard on his radio say, we have active shooters. And I heard him say, oh God. And then he walked out to look around, and he had his gun out, and he was looking around, and then it started shooting again, and he came running back in and covered me up again. And then the shooting just would stop, like they or she, whoever was refilling or whatever you call it, reloading. And then he said, we need to get out of here. We got to get you out of here. So we went to another little tent and stood in there, or we laid down in there. And again, that officer was with me. He was like my guardian angel. He never left me. And we could hear the shots getting closer, it seemed. And my husband got hit like with some shrapnel, and he goes, Gail, I think I got some of the, I don't know what you call it, lead or something. And he goes, feel how hot it is. And he put it on my arm. And we kind of waited, and then the shooting kind of stopped because it kept stopping, like they were refilling or something or reloading. And so then the officer said, we need to get you out of here. You got to get out of here, but stay low. So we went to get out the back, and we couldn't get out because there was like a door or something. So we pushed it down. He pushed it down first, and we ran out. And he said, stay out of the light. Just run, and keep down, keep down. And as we're running, there's people laying everywhere. People were bleeding. One guy was holding his girlfriend or wife or, woman, and he was crying and saying, oh, God, baby, I'm so sorry, it's my fault. And I think she had been shot in the head because he was just covered with blood. And we ran, and there was just ambulances and police cars everywhere. It was
Gail,
heartbreaking.
you were
It's like unreal.
You were painting an incredible story. I am so sorry. We're all sorry that you had to go through something like
Thank
this.
you.
It sounds absolutely terrifying. How long did the shooting seem to last to you?
Well, it seemed like a long time, but maybe only 10 minutes it seemed. You know, maybe 15 minutes. It seemed forever, but then again, it was like so fast. Your mind plays tricks on you, and it's hard to say, but it was I've never been that scared in my life.
Gail, how many
my life ever.
people were in the area where you were watching?
Oh, it was packed. It was packed because, you know, Jason Aldean is just like the #1 singer, and everybody, he was the last singer for the venue and for the show, and so everybody was there having a good time. It was packed. I don't know, thousands. It was just packed, you know, everywhere.
Hey, Gail, where's the officer who helped you? Do you know where he is now?
No, I saw his face, and I'm going to try to go down to Metro and see if I can find him and look at his pictures, because he saved me. I know, because, you know, the girl that got shot was right next to me. I don't know. I wish I can find him. I'm going to try to find him and tell him thank you.
Of course, that police
Metro
officer
did amazing.
That police officer, like you said, a guardian angel for you and your husband there. Can you describe the rest of the scene, though, in terms of security? How quickly did you see first responders run towards the scene and start helping the wounded?
Almost immediately. Metro was there. They're always right there. You know, Metro's such an amazing police force, and they were right there. Ambulances were coming. We had ambulances everywhere. There were police cars everywhere, and the police officers were helping. The other concert goers were helping everybody. It was just amazing. We all came together, and everybody was helping everybody. It was wonderful to see, and I just love Metro. I'm just so proud of them.
Yeah, a lot of people are giving big kudos to the Las Vegas Police Department. It would not apparently have made a difference in this particular shooting, but did you have to go through any sort of security device when you went into the concert today?
No, well, yeah, when you walk through, they look at your, you know, I didn't have anything because I don't carry anything. I have my chapstick, but no, they'll look at your backpacks and stuff, but it's secure. It's very secure. And my husband saw the shots from Mandalay Bay. They were like a little bit above halfway, a little bit higher up, and he could actually see like lights flashing, like, and then they said that he saw this, where the shooter was. And everybody, he's so wholesome, everybody loves him, and there were kids there, and I remember one lady was just screaming, and she's going, I can't find my daughter, I can't find my daughter, and I don't know if she found her or she made it or anything. It was just like chaos. It was just crazy.
You know, Gail, when we talked to Jake Owen earlier today, he said that he hopes that people will still continue, that he's going to get back on stage and perform. He hopes that anyone who was at the concert will continue to do so, that we won't let a coward, as he says, change our way of life. How are you feeling about that?
Oh, no, I'll still go. Of course I'll go. I think I'll be a little more on guard. But you can't foresee something like this. You can't expect this. But, you know, I'll go again. I'm sure we all love all our country artists, and we're all going to go again. We support them. We love them. Especially Jason.
Well, Gail, that police officer was a hero, and it sounds like your husband was a hero as well for having a peace of mind to recognize that those weren't firecrackers, that they were, in fact, gunshots. We wish him the best in his recovery from the shrapnel wounds. Gail, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Monday, October 2, 2017. 01:43 and 51 seconds.
911 emergency, Verdino 15951. Do you need police, fire, or medical?
Yes, I'm calling because of the shooting incident, and I'm at the Hooters Hotel. We're on lockdown. I watched.
I'm sorry, sir, your phone cut out. I'm sorry, you said you're at the Hooters Hotel?
Yes, I am. I'm locked down here, but I watched the police chief give the update a few moments ago.
Okay.
And we have the TVs on here. And we were at the concert, and my friend and I both, as the shooting started, when we thought it was fireworks, we both observed flash coming out of two windows of the Mandalay Bay. And I hear the police chief saying they had one room where they took down the shooter, and they talk about the other lady that's missing they want to find. There were two windows with exact similar flashing white lights coming out of them like strobes at the same time this was happening.
Okay, so you witnessed two lights or two
I
windows?
witnessed two windows where the flashes were coming from. One from where I was sitting in the venue at the Harvest concert. We were sitting in the very back, where there would have been the northmost end of the concert space, and I could see the left wing of the Mandalay Bay up higher, and I heard him say the 32nd floor. That's where they took the guy out. But also on the right wing, down another 5 or 6 floors, there was another area where the light was flashing from, and I saw it first, and I saw the one higher up to the left second. My friend saw the exact same thing, and I hear him saying one shooter for sure. There were two windows with the exact same flashing light coming out of them when all that machine gun fire was happening.
Okay, you said it's approximately 5 floors lower than the other?
Say it again?
You said it was approximately 5 floors lower than the other window?
I'm estimating, because at the moment I wasn't realizing what it was. It might even have been a larger separation, but the wing is where I was sitting at the north end of this venue. The wing that would have faced more southeast, I guess, had the higher window, and the wing that was a little bit more northwest was a lower window.
What is
but they
your
were still
first
both
and last
very
name,
high.
sir?
Say it again?
Your first and last name?
My name is Jeff.
And Mr. your callback phone number?
This is my cell phone number.
Is it?
Yes, it is. And we just keep watching all these videos sent in, and some of them capture that height of the building, but it's too hard to see on the TV if you can see the flashing or not.
Okay.
But they were both windows, distance apart from each other.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. for the information. I updated it in our call, and someone may contact you for further, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
It's not that blinking light now. Two shooters right there in that room. It's not that blinking light now. Two shooters right there in that room.
we heard at least 3 different types of
Oh no, there's
like machine guns, and then there was a different popping sound, and then the popping sound went off and stopped.
See, I got you the lady. Got you the lady right there. Here you go. There you go.
No, we were walking down and we heard some popping sounds. We thought it was fireworks at first. Then there's some kept walking down a little bit further, and it just sounded like machine guns, literally hundreds of rounds of machine guns. And we thought, it was like, well, that's strange. It sounds like it's from the top of the roof or the back of the roof. Then there was a different type of gunshot that we heard, and I can't explain to you. It's very overwhelming. It does all these sounds, and then it stopped and it started again. And then we just pulled back. We're behind a building because we knew that something wasn't right. It was definitely gunshots. So very overwhelming, and then about 10 minutes later, police started coming, and they blocked off the streets, and so we've been here ever since. So now we're hearing things. They were shooting on the concert, and they were going Potter, P-A-T-T-E-R.
That guy.
You drinking it up?
That guy. No, he's selling everything.
That bald-headed guy?
Yeah.
What? How many guys? I don't know. Terrorists for sure, man.
And then I thought, we're staying at the Mandalay Bay, and we wanted to go get something at the store very quickly, so we walked down. Then we were coming down, and we heard it literally sounded like machine guns. And
I need to take a video. No, you're good.
And you can hear it there, sustained automatic gunfire at the concert. People were running for cover or crouching down to try to avoid being hit. Some eyewitnesses are saying the shooting came from an upper floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. This is not confirmed at the moment. Now, the incident took place around 10:30 p.m. and per local time. Parts of the area were shut down. Armed police arrived at the scene of the attack. It was at the Route 91 Harvest Festival, taking place just across the strip from the Mandalay Bay Hotel Casino. People have been sheltering in hotels, restaurants, and at Las Vegas McCarran International Airport. It says that flights in and out are temporarily suspended from that airport. This is what some eyewitnesses say and what they heard.
No, we just heard machine guns, and one of the security guards asked us to just stop, but they kept shooting and shooting and shooting, and we thought it was on the other side. We just thought it was maybe play machine guns, but it definitely wasn't, or fire guns.
Security guard.
And it sounded like at least 30 rounds or more, and then there was
a lot of single gunshots too.
Could you see the gunshots coming from the window?
No, we could definitely hear them though, and you could tell it was right here by Mandalay Bay, either in the front or toward the back, headed toward this way.
Okay.
179 is coming from upstairs in the Mandalay Bay. Upstairs in Mandalay Bay, halfway up. I see the shots coming from Mandalay Bay. Halfway up.
Control, that is correct. Shots fired from Mandalay Bay. There's many people down. Stage left. Just be advised.
Control, do we have anyone covering the southwest corner between Mandalay Bay and the venue? CP, I need eyes. Somebody in the CP, can you tell me where it's coming from?
We're hearing it from Mandalay Bay.
Somewhere in Mandalay Bay. It's at the intersection. It almost sounds like it's that close.
Arriving unit is coming across from the whole part, so be careful. It sounded like an elevated position that they had.
159 SC, we have a rifle deployed. We're in front of Mandalay Bay. We're trying to see where the shots are coming from. If anyone can advise if they're coming from Mandalay.
It sounds like it's either Mandalay or Left, we cannot tell.
From Mandalay Bay, it's getting a little bit more faint.
159 is coming from like the 50th or 60th floor, north of the Mandalay Bay. It's coming out of the window. Control 7910, we're seeing local flashes in the middle of Mandalay Bay on the north side, kind of on the west tower, but towards the center of the casino, like one of the middle floors. I'm inside the Mandalay Bay on the 31st floor. I can hear the automatic fire coming from one floor ahead, one floor above us.
Advise, it is automatic fire, fully automatic fire from an elevated position. Take cover.
That's correct. It's fully automatic fire. I'm right below it. 751, I see there's a flashing coming up from about a third of the way up, center tower, Mandalay Bay. We've got.
Okay, we can't worry about victims. We need to stop the shooter before we have more victims. Anybody have eyes on this shooter?
About 15th floor on the Mandalay Bay, facing a whole lot. 751, it's been a while since we've heard any shots. Does anybody have eyes on the shooter? We have the Mandalay Bay locked down. Be advised, we are taking fire from a very high floor. We believe it's possibly coming from the Mandalay Bay. Any officer that responds here is going to be in plain sight if he's going on the east side of Mandalay Bay. Every officer that comes up is going to be a target if they're driving on Las Vegas Boulevard because it's coming from the Mandalay Bay on the Boulevard side. Break.
Control, 35. I haven't seen any flashes from Mandalay, but if it is coming from Mandalay, there is a strobe light coming from one of those windows on the east side. Control, 35. We're getting from civilians saying that there might have been 3 shooters.
GC60, we've interviewed multiple people leaving the concert venue that is on the north side of Hacienda, east side of Las Vegas Boulevard, saying that there are multiple people that have been shot or were shooting in this concert venue.
Control 3942, I'm in the stairwell on the 32nd floor.
Control 159 SE, I need the radio, please. I'm on the 32nd floor. The room is going to be 135, break. It's room 135 on the 32nd floor. I need to SWAT.
Just confirming that is the Mandalay Bay.
Do it.
Just confirming it is the Mandalay Bay 32nd floor, room 135.
That is affirmed. We have a 4-man element. It's at the very end of the hall. Control. We just spoke with security at Mandalay Bay. They're saying they have shots fired on 29 and 32nd levels. Control 3.
182 SC. We might need to split these channels. We're going to need a dedicated one for this 32nd floor, I think. He shot down the hallway and hit a security guard. And we have a 4-man team up here, and we have another element coming to us. So we're going to have about 8 on the 32nd floor. We will need the 29th floor. It sounds like it's confirmed there are at least 2 shooters with fully automatic weapons.